6 major racist strategies. They are racial classification confusion,
Yes.
racial population dislocation confusion, racial population tailoring confusion, racial showcasing confusion, racial sexual confusion, and racial white sacrifice confusion. Now, I'm pointing out this morning racial population dislocation confusion. That means what in practical terms? That means that if you are a person of color, and we are in the system of white supremacy, you will be forced to dislocate from wherever you are, if wherever you are happens to be stable. And that's anywhere in the world. They're doing this. They're going all out to do this now. And it may not show up in some places, but in most places where black people seem to be, or people of color seem to be doing, you might say, reasonably well, doing better than they have done, say, in years in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be getting stable and on their feet. What the racists do, they come around and take a look, and they see that you're getting some type of stability. So they're going to destabilize that situation. They're going to have to do this. This is one thing they have to do. People have asked me about this for years. They say, how can you get the white supremacists to keep you from having to move from a stable situation that you have, where you're well established or getting established, and it looks like you're going to get on your feet, but maybe for the first time, or maybe for the second time you're getting on your feet after having been dislocated from somewhere else. And my response down through the years has been, there's no way you can compensate for that other than to be ready to move, because they have to do this. They have to keep, you might say, like in old Western type movies, keep them squatters on the move. They consider people of color to be squatters here on the planet.
Yes.
That we have no permanent place. That our place is wherever they say that it's going to be. If you're a person of color, they'll just move in and say, hey, I'm here now, so you have to move from where you are. In the northwestern hemisphere, people will experience this in housing. A lot of people have experienced that already in the last few years. They have had to move from houses that they moved into, and after they stayed there a little while, they had to move out. And there's all kinds of ways to get you to move out. Sometimes it's just there was some misunderstanding about the so-called mortgage payments, the prime rates and all of that type of thing. And in other ways they'll open a drug den or allow a drug den to flourish right down the street from you or somewhere in the neighborhood. And then with the drugs come the guns and the gunfire and the offspring, the children, whatnot, trying to go to school and all like that, and they're having to dodge bullets and all that. So you say, I got to get out of here. I got to move. Well, this is all well planned. The white supremacists know this. And so when you move, then as soon as you move and as soon as the people of color move out, then the white supremacists move in white people.
Yes.
And then everything becomes peaceful. And then the people of color come around trying to get back in, but they can't get back in on account of the pricing is too high. And
yes.
The jobs that they have will not meet that price because they catch you on both ends. They'll see to it you won't have the income, and then they'll see to it that you can't move in. And if you have the income to move in, they'll see to it that you get destabilized again. So it's a cycle.
Yes.
They keep that going. It's called racial dislocation confusion.
How's that different from gentrification?
Same thing.
Okay,
they
same
got different
thing.
names for it.
Yes, sir, okay.
But what it boils down to is you got to move again.
You got to move again.
You
okay.
got to move again. You cannot stay where you are. We're going to keep you destabilized. There's no such thing as a black person going to have what you call the second-generation house. Right after so-called World War II, many black people could sit on their porches and say, well, it's a substantial number, and say, well, my grandfather had this house. This is a third-generation house, or at least a second-generation house. might not have been much, but it was stabilized in a solid neighborhood, you might say. You knew everybody in the neighborhood and all like that.
Yes, that's true.
The white supremacists looked at that and said, no more of that. That's not going to happen ever again. You know, keep them people moving, because when you keep them moving, you keep them in all kind of disarray. You cause so-called marriages to break up and all like that. And people scattered all over the place. Say, you know, they got these big 2-story houses with room in the basement for someone. We're going to do away with all that. It's not going to be any more of that. And we're going to make the little rooms smaller so that they have to crowd in there when we build them. And we're going to put high prices on those little small rooms. In other words, it's all about racial dislocation, confusion.
Okay.
Keep them confused. Keep them moving. Keep them moving. And in other places throughout the world, they'll just cause famine, things like that. You know, all of a sudden, or they will locate you where what? You have floods. They know that the flood is coming 10 years down the road. They have already predicted that. Say, we can't pinpoint the exact day, but we know that we are moving these people into an area that's going to flood. And we're going to put them there. They're going to buy a lot of nice houses there. They're going to be paying for them. They're going to think that they're all set and all ready to go. But within the next 15 years, you're going to have one of the biggest floods that you ever want to see right there in that area where we have built those houses for these people of color, or we have allowed them to migrate to. And so they're going to have to move again and be at our mercy again and have to beg again all over for some place to go.
Yes.
I just wanted to drop that out there. So
okay.
What's the remedy for this? Stay ready to move.
Stay ready to move.
Don't think that you are in a permanent situation. Don't accumulate a lot of stuff that you're going to have to move, particularly in the Northwestern Hemisphere. People have a tendency to say, well, you know, I got this big house, and so I got to furnish it because I want to impress my friends, like, you know, particularly black people usually want to do, and all like that. And I'm saying, if you have space in any house that you have, don't fill up that space. That space will fill up on its own. You'll have more stuff than you can move. So don't look forward. I mean, you have some empty rooms and all like that. Let those rooms stay empty. Let them stay empty. You will need it later on. And then try not to buy anything that you don't absolutely have to have.
Yes.
Because you're going to have to move it.